Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Change Your Mind podcast, where we explore the intersection between personal development, spirituality, and science. And I'm really excited because we're going to do exactly that, merge up science and spirituality today with my amazing tarot reading guest. But first, a couple quick announcements. If you head over to the links in the show notes, you will find a link for my book, Change Your Mind to Change Your Reality. It was endorsed by 3 experts from the film The Secret: Bob Doyle, Marcy Shimoff, Michael Beckwith. It was also endorsed by John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, Anita Morjani, and 10 others in the spiritual and personal development space. You'll also find links to my courses. Some are free, some are paid. You'll find my free live masterclass I do every couple weeks on helping you eliminate debilitating emotional stress that's been holding you back, and lots of other freebies, and of course, all the links for my guests as well. Hi, I'm Kris. When I was younger, I went through trauma that caused me to feel broken and lost. But my life changed after I had a spiritual awakening. Since then, I've dedicated my life to studying and learning from masters all around the world that have helped me to create a life of fulfillment and abundance beyond my wildest dreams. Now I'm dedicated to sharing everything I've learned so that you don't have to suffer for decades like I did. I've seen people's lives completely transformed, and I share it all right here. So speaking of guests, let's get into it. With me today, I have Rachel Fiorentino. And for as long as Rachel can remember, she was always fascinated with what makes us tick. As early as 9 years old, she would listen to radio shows about psychics, astrology, and anything unusual. She spent hours reading about religion, symbolism, mythology, and tarot cards. At the age of 18, she began reading tarot cards professionally. Rachel continued to grow and learn by obtaining a Bachelor of Science in Business Management, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Certified Life Coach, and Law of Attraction Coach. And she aids her clients on their best possible path. Rachel believes that tarot cards can be used for self-improvement, manifesting, and coaching, not exclusively for reading the future. I'm really excited to hear about that. Rachel currently lives in Denver, Colorado, with her amazing husband and 4 four-legged children. Huge animal lover. I appreciate that. She enjoys a very successful nursing career and tarot card business. Rachel, I'm so excited to have you here. I can't wait for this conversation. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, so before we get into all of it, because I do have so many questions, I like to start all my conversations the same way, and that is by asking my guests what their origin story is. So if you wouldn't mind sharing with myself and any listeners, how did you get started on this path? What is it that sparked this?
Yeah, as you were kind of reading about with my bio there, is that I've just always been fascinated by anything unusual. So I've just always been kind of reading about it. And then I got my first deck at 16 and then went professional at 18. And I think it was something that just really connected with me of like, oh, wow, I can connect with people with the cards and I can help them on their possible path when it came to these cards. And it was just something that just totally resonated with me. And I was just in love with them instantly.
Yeah,
And yeah, now I've enjoyed a 30-year career with them. So I love it.
yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And, for listeners, a little background info. I have quick little 15-minute calls with everyone on my show just to screen people. And what I really found fascinating about you, Rachel, is you said that you're a well-grounded tarot reader. You aren't going to talk about the woo-woo. You're not going to be reading the Akashic records or connecting people with their spirit guides. You're going to be helping them make tangible results in their life right now. So I'd love for you to just talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, being able to have like a business degree and a nursing degree, I've always thought that we needed to be here within our own body and here within this earth to be able to make things work. So it's not about being so far in the future and all the woo-woo-ness and everything like that. It's all about what can be done here and now within this place that we're at. So I don't go off into, you know, like you said, the Akashic record and all that kind of stuff. It's a matter of like, that can be for somebody else, but that's not me. And with the nursing, I'm really into a lot of the science. And so, through my career, I've really focused a lot more on the science of the cards. And that's when I've really studied a lot of psychology and self development and realized that they're all kind of saying the same thing as far as like us growing and becoming better, and the concept of like synchronicity and the hero's journey. Those are all part of the cards, and it's all psychology. So it's all interconnected. And you don't have to go to, um, you know, far off realms to be able to get it. It's all about the here and now and what we can tangibly direct our energy and where we can go and how we can grow ourselves in our physical body.
I love that. I mean, all my listeners know that I love backing up all of the spirituality with science because, modern day science, especially like quantum physics and epigenetics and even some neuroscience, really is backing up what spirituality has been saying for a long time. And I think it's important to have both realms, right? Because yes, we are these amazing spiritual beings, but we're also here on 3D Earth having a human experience, right? And oftentimes
Absolutely.
what we need guidance on is that 3D Earth experience. Okay, so
Absolutely.
so the way that science backs it up is what you're saying is that it's all psychology based, it's
Mhm.
all the hero's journey, all of that. So what do you think it is that makes us draw those certain cards?
Yeah, I think it's that higher self that the most common quote I always hear from my clients is like, "Thank you for that confirmation. I knew it. I just needed to hear it out loud." And that's it. Is that like these cards are picking up that higher purpose, that higher self that we always know it's there. It's there. It's available to us, and we feel it. It's just a matter of sometimes we need something tangible on the outside world instead of just in our head to be able to go, yes, this is correct. This is right.
It reminds me of how everyone we meet is a reflection of us, right? And in that sense, it
Mhm.
almost feels like the cards are as well, right? It's just reflecting back to
Absolutely.
you your current state.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you're not reading for the future, which we're all used to tarot readers who are
Mhm.
reading for the future, what does a typical reading look like?
So I do like a past, present, and future spread.
Okay.
So I do read the future in the sense that it is not written in stone. It is just kind of a glimpse, a picture of, do you like what this looks like? And if it doesn't, if that's not what you want, we come to the present and figure out how to change that.
Hmm.
So a really good example of that is like, let's say that you hate your job, and I look at the future and I was like, oh man, you're going to get fired, if you don't knock this off. Then if you don't want to get fired, I mean, some people do, right? So we're like, great, yay. But if you're like, no, I need the control, I need to be able to, like, I can't just lose my job like that. That's when we can come and bring it into the future, or excuse me, into the present and go, what do we need to do now to prevent you from getting fired? So like maybe it's something like you have to start looking for a job now instead of waiting until something happens. Or maybe it's the idea of like quitting now, and then let's see what we can do about finding a job later. So it's still a little bit of a glimpse into the future, but it's not all based. It's all brought back to the present because the present is what we can change. The present is how we manifest what we want, and it's all just done right here and there. So it's good to know the our steps that we've taken, and it's good to see the steps that we're going to take. But we need to really focus on the present to be able to get there.
I like that people are leaving with a plan, right? Because if you just know the future, well, A, you feel totally out of control. B, right?
Mhm.
And B, you're like, well, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
And as you were talking, I was thinking about different timelines, right? And quantum jumping, because quantum physics tells us that every possible timeline exists out there, right? Everything you can imagine and everything you can't, it all exists. And
Right.
maybe when you're glimpsing into the future in these spreads, you're seeing someone's future on their current timeline, on their current trajectory. And then by helping them make that shift, like, is this really what you want? Well, no, then you have to manifest, you have to take action, right? Towards, like, you have to get clear on what you want, you have to take action towards it, and that's how you jump timelines. So it makes perfect
Yeah.
sense to me, and it completely ties into everything that, I talk about all the time too. So I appreciate that outlook.
Yeah.
Um,
And I felt that too as far as, like, when I had gotten readings in the past, it was like, "Well, this is what's happening. Here's your here's your spread. Good luck with that." And I was like I always walked away going, "There's gotta be more to it." Like, why do we have such knowledge, and wisdom from these cards, yet we have to take it to that next step? And then that's when I got, certified in life coaching and law of attraction, to be able to take us to that next step and be able to really utilize the wisdom of the cards and use it for our present day and being able to get what we want and manifest that.
Totally. And I'm also thinking, if we're told something is going to happen, it is so much more likely to happen because we start to believe it and then we manifest it. And I have the perfect example of this. My father passed away last year, and he was told that he was dying and had to go into hospice. And he was in hospice for like 9 months, and at some point, he was
Yeah.
like, "They conned me." Like, but at that point, he hadn't got out of bed for so long, his muscles had atrophied,
Mm.
and he believed it, he believed that
Yeah.
he was dying, and he started to get ready for dying. And, there's all of those studies of people who are told by doctors they have 3 months left to live, and then they die in 3 months. But it's the
Mhm.
people who are like, "No, I won't accept that," that they're quote unquote miracle stories that are alive
Mhm.
years later, right? So it's so much about our beliefs. And when someone with some sort of authority from the outside tells you something's going to happen, it's so much more likely that you're going to believe it.
Yeah, yeah, and I've seen that so many times when it comes to nursing, of a
Mhm.
like, if, when they've been told a diagnosis or told something, and I'm all like, "Well, is that what you want?" As a nurse, I'm like, "Is that what you want? Do you wanna leave this earth here in 3 months, or how do you want to have the next 3 months look like?" And having that conversation as a nurse can really change people's outlooks, and I've seen that time and time again.
We need more nurses like that.
Yeah.
So that actually makes me wonder, like, how does your nursing degree and your business degree, how do you bring that into your tarot reading? Because those really are different mindsets, right? When you think about
Yeah.
it.
Well, but I think they're all linked with intuition.
Okay.
Is that, a nurse can tell you exactly, when somebody is going to pass and transition out of this world. You can ask any nurse and she'll tell you when that's going to happen. They know. And that's the same thing with life coaching and law of attraction and the cards. They all need this intuition. It's just maybe a different type of skill set. It comes with it. But combining those all together through intuition, and you've just got this, amazing, um, you know, 360-degree level of what you can do for your clients.
Intuition's so important. I really think it's our
Mm.
connection to our higher self and the universe. And it makes me
Absolutely.
wonder, like, when you're reading a spread of cards, to me, there's a lot of intuition that has to come into that, right? Because it's not like
Yeah.
you read those cards and you're like, this is definitively what they say, right? Isn't there like some
Mhm.
interpretation, or am I totally
Absolutely.
incorrect?
Nope, nope, absolutely, absolutely. So, like, for example, there's the Fool card, and in most Fool cards, so that's talking about, like, new beginnings and new, jumping off cliffs and starting a new chapter in your life. But if you look at the card itself, sometimes, like, just either the way the cards land or the intuition is just focusing, it might focus in on the little dog that's down there. And so we can, my intuition will kind of go off of like, oh no, it's not about jumping off a cliff or starting a journey. It might be about this dog. And that's when I'm all like, I'm seeing something about a little dog. Are you really connected with the dog and that loyalty? And so that's how the intuition comes into play. It might not be about the card itself, but it might be something about the picture you see within that card that sometimes have relates to nothing to do with the meaning behind the card.
Do different decks have different pictures, or are they all
Yeah.
universal? Okay.
Yeah, no, there's so many different types of decks out there, which is amazing, and that's why I'm always telling people, like, just keep trying to find a deck. If you're interested in playing, keep looking for a deck because there's so many different connections with it, and the different, I mean, there's even, like, cat decks, of, like, all different types of cats or all different kinds of dogs. So, if you're animal lover, like you can maybe get really connected with that type of card. But there's so many different types. It just goes, I mean, I want to say thousands. It feels like thousands, but definitely hundreds and hundreds of decks.
And I'm sure there's a level of intuition that guides you which deck to use for which person. And so another question is,
Mhm.
you were saying that like sometimes it's about the picture on the card. Like, do the other cards that it's paired with influence how you read it too? Like if you have the Fool card with the Death card, does that mean something that different than the Fool card with the Tower card?
Yeah, absolutely. So like the death card talks about like change that's happening within your control. So the end of a chapter of your life, beginning of a new one. And so when it's kind of mixed with the full card, now we're talking about like, yeah, in order for you to get to that next level or order to get to that next place that you're hoping to get to, you're going to have to do it all within your own control. So that's where it starts kind of compounding things together, is when the different cards start merging together and you get to
That's
see a bigger picture.
that's really fun. So with each reading, how many cards do you go through?
Um, for me, like if a client at home, I'll go through the whole deck, and there's 78 cards, just the way I read. There's other readers out there that will place like a certain spread of like maybe 10 cards or so, and they'll read from these 10 cards for the whole hour. So everybody's really unique when it comes to that, on whether they use certain spreads or certain things. And I just kind of I put 5 cards in each, past, present, and future. And then the more questions we have, or the um, more we want to dig in deeper, I'll throw more cards to keep going deeper and deeper, until we get to how we get to a certain spot or how we change the world.
And then at that point, your life coaching comes in and you're like,
Mhm.
okay, well, this is what I'm seeing. How do we want to change this? And what
Yeah.
does that process look like?
Yeah, so it's usually about like, do you like this idea? Do you not like this idea? Or sometimes people are like, I've never thought of that before. So, for example, like a client I read for, it came really fast for me. Of all of a sudden, I'm like, she's supposed to help people pass on to the next level. So, like, and what actually came out was like a death doula,
Mm.
where somebody's there with them during their transition, and she had never thought about that before, but she was like, "I've never been afraid of death, and how great would that be to help people, um, y do something that I'm not afraid of?" And I'm all like, "Yeah, that's you." And so we were able to, like, really dig in and just start like, "Okay, how do we start from there?" Like, I was like, "I don't even know. Is there a certification that we need?" So it just ended up going like, okay, we need to figure out, what do you need to do? What education do you need, to be able to get there? What does that look like? How much money can you make? So we just kind of went into all these deep level questions on something she had never heard of before. And I'm like, yeah, there we go. Let's do it.
So is she doing that today?
Yeah, yeah, she is. She is. And loving it. Absolutely loving it. Mhm.
That's a really special position to be in. As someone who's also not afraid of death and was
Mhm.
holding my dad's hand when he passed,
Yeah,
that's like such a it's an honor to be there
it really
during
is.
those
It
times. Yeah,
really is.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty
And
amazing.
it's amazing how some people don't wanna be with family, but they don't wanna be alone. Some people, wanna be completely alone, and you can kinda pick up on that, and I think that's where that death doula is able to, like, really use her intuition to be able to go like, "Nope, he's feeling like he wants to be by himself, so we can all leave." And she's told me stories about like, yeah, they all leave and within minutes, they're gone. And but she's able to use her intuition to be able to guide that and make the family so much happier and better about that whole process.
Yeah, and I really do think that we choose how we leave this world, right? We choose how
Agreed.
we come into it, we choose how we leave it. And
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I know friends who, had just a vigil constantly for days around a loved one, and then like 5 minutes no one was in the room is when they go.
Mhm.
So yeah, I totally believe that we choose,
Yeah.
and it all comes back to intuition.
Mhm.
So, I'd love it. Sometimes I have guests come on and if they have a skill like yours, they'll do a little demo for us. So if you're up for it, I'd love to get a reading from you and you can show
Yeah.
people how you do it. I don't know if
Yeah,
you're
that
able
would
to tilt your camera so you can see the cards or if you just want to
yeah.
tell me what they are or whatever is
Let's
easier for you.
yeah,
And
let's
so
see what we can do here.
what deck are we using?
So I use Handel, and to be
Okay.
honest, this is the deck I've been using since I was 16. So
That's amazing.
yeah, yeah.
So what drew you to this specific deck?
I got it by accident. I had told a friend I wanted this deck, this other deck, um, and he thought I was talking about this deck, and when I looked at it, I was like, "Oh, this is no accident. This was supposed to be mine." But what I love about it, it has got Native American I Ching, Norse gods, Egyptian gods, um, like astrology, runes, Hebrew letters. It's got like everything you can think of when it comes to like just that knowledge and information, which I think is just amazing.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, hopefully you can kind of see it. It might be a little upside down, huh? That's all right.
I can see it.
Okay,
Um,
good, good, good. So, like I was saying, this is past, present, and future. All right. So, what it's showing is that, um, and I know you briefly told me a little bit what's happening in your world. So, um, but it's showing that, like, not too long ago, the whole world kind of went upside down for you. But what's great is that it really made you realize what you want in your life and what you don't want, and
mm,
what can just go away now, what you don't have to focus in on anymore. And so I like that you kind of, because of kind of this, um, big thing that was kind of going on, and we'll say a little baby came in, you're like, okay, I can just start really focusing on what matters now, and everything else can just go. But what I like too is that this little creature of yours has really made you start looking at things in a different light, looking at things, just differently that you're able to share with others. So it's like just giving that people that different perspective. So not only now are you a mom, but you're an author, you're everything else that you incorporate in. And mom was just another little instance of what you need to be able to help people learn just a new perspective on life. So I love that. I love that. Currently, so it's showing that it's like we're still kind of moving towards this, like that concept of success, of what that really means for you. And so, like, we kind of got rid of the junk back here of what no longer serves us. But now we're really getting on what success is truly meaningful. And again, as we were talking about the death card and the fool card, interesting enough, they both come up. Of course they
oh,
would, huh?
wow. Cool.
So it's talking about, like, okay, so if you're going to create your success, you're the one who's going to have to do it yourself. You're the one who's going to have to make those changes, get rid of those things that no longer serve you. And part of it is that you've got this new chapter in your life that you're creating, and it looks like it's both business and like mentally kind of idea. So we're trying to really focus on like the end of a chapter back here and a new chapter of your life, which also means, are you writing another book?
I have two more in very, very early stages, but yes, in the
Perfect,
works.
perfect. Good. It looks like one's gonna come before the other one. So, of course, I guess that's the way it works, huh? Is that but but it seems like one is gonna, like, you're just kinda waiting for a little bit of that creativity to come in, and I think that book is gonna just finish so quickly as far as, like, you'll just be able to sit down and finish it in one weekend. Like, but you're just waiting for that one little itty bitty spark to get you for the rest of it. But this is kind of saying is that you're in control of this. So we really have to get rid of the things that no longer serve you again, like I mentioned, and you're the one who's going to have to do it for your own self. But this is definitely very karmic as well. So you doing all this and sharing the knowledge that you have with others, this is something that you've been doing for, if you believe in past lives, you've been doing this for many, many lifetimes, is to be able to kind of be that teacher that, where you get to share the knowledge of what you've learned. So I'm glad you found your path this time around too. So for future now, we've got, it's kind of showing that we've got some outside influences that are just kind of showing you exactly, or trying to kind of interfere with that, I should say. So this is where we're going to have to really start, even writing down what this concept of success means. We really got to focus in on that. Now, I always kind of say the idea of like, there's kind of an illusion of success when it comes to money, right? Is that we want money, we want that, material side of things, but then we realize that that's more of the illusion. What success really means is what we do with the money.
Mm.
So that's where that's like one of those lessons that we're going to be learning up here is what do we use with that money? So it's the idea, like for you, it seems like you'll end up turning around and sharing it with others. So you're just going to keep, trying to do that to kind of raise everybody up, as far as vibrationally wise. So you're going to have to stop and think about the things that you need to change about that now. Is yes, it's great to focus on money, but what are you going to do with it? If you've got all of that money to do anything that you've ever wanted to do in your life, what are you going to be doing with it? So those are where some of those outside influences are going to kind of try to take you away from what that inner core is talking about, that inner core of money, basically. So that's why before we can get to this interference, if we can learn on what we want with the money here and now, that's going to help when the outside influences come and tries to kind of take us a little bit away from that. Because then you're going to be like, no, that path is not for me. I know my path now, and I don't have to go to that direction of where people are kind of pulling me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's people trying to pull me in a
Mhm.
direction when they're like, "Oh, you have this money, spend it this way." Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it even kind of feels a lot with like your writing. So, where you might be wanting to write the books in one direction, and whether it's like an editor or, publicist or something like that are kind of saying, well, you'd make more money going this way, and you're like, oh, well, that sounds great, but that's not where my path lies. My path is over on this side. So stay on your course, not on anybody else's.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Mhm.
That's very exciting to hear all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a
Yeah.
lot coming up for the future, a lot of creativity, a lot of great things. So if we can get grounded in the here and now and being able to figure out that what success looks like for you, this is going to be easy peasy for you.
So I have to figure out what success looks like. I have to figure out what success looks like for me, and I have to do the work myself, right? Those are
Yes. Yes,
the
those are
two
the two
takeaways.
walkaways.
All
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Well,
I
thank you
know.
so much for that.
You're welcome. I know.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, right?
No problem. Just go do it all on your own. No, but
Yeah,
that
yeah.
actually resonates a lot. I definitely feel like I'm starting a new chapter in my life right now. So
Good, good,
there's a
good.
lot of old. I actually just sold my yoga company last week, so there's
Oh,
a lot
wow.
of a lot of old getting washed away. Uh,
Good.
Cool. Well, if you're
Mhm.
listening to that and that sounded exciting and you want to know what yours is, you should definitely get in touch with Rachel. So, Rachel, can you let people know how they can work with you? Because I'm sure everyone wants to at this point.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so you can find me at um, Tarot Readings by Rachel .com or anywhere on social media, same name, Tarot Readings by Rachel. And actually, if you go to my website and book an appointment with me and type in Change Your Mind, all one word, in the coupon code, you'll get 20% off of your first reading.
Thank you so much for that generous offer to listeners. I'm sure everyone appreciates that, and it's also
Yeah.
kind of fun. You get to see who comes from the show that way too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, is there anything that you want to leave people with? Anything I didn't ask that you feel like is important to get out there in the tarot world or just your world?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that I've just learned that of my purpose in life is to make sure or make the tarot cards just mainstream. My biggest delight in this world would be like if anytime anybody says, oh, I'm thinking about doing this, everybody would just say, hey, what card did you pull for it? Just to make it mainstream. These are just another set of gifts and tools that we can all utilize to be able to get in touch with our higher self. And I mean, everybody does it in many different ways, but this is just another tool that we can use. So if everybody can utilize these, not just me, but for everybody else, I think this is going to just bring that higher vibrational level up to everybody. And we can all just do this for each other and be on such a great plane to be able to share this gift of the cards to everybody else.
I really appreciate that. And the guest that I had on right before you was talking a lot about intuition as well. And we were talking about spirit guides and how they're always sending messages for your spirit guides and your higher self and the universe through song lyrics and people you meet and all these things. And it feels like this is more of a direct line of communication. You're like, okay, what do you want to tell me? Like, lay it out, show me in the card. So I appreciate your message to
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
it feels
Thank
like
you.
humanity is waking up, so I think we're heading in that direction for sure.
Yeah. I think we're ready for it now. Absolutely.
And when you say I want you to like I hope they pull that card or what card did you pull? Is this something someone can do on their own? Like is it you can
Oh,
just
yeah.
like pull a card and
Yeah, yeah,
talk to me about that.
absolutely. So,
I've never heard that.
yeah, so I mean, like, anytime anything kind of is going on with my life, so just the idea of like, what do I need to know for the day? I'll just pull a card and be able to see what that says, and like, oh, okay, be aware of this or enjoy the moment or any of those kind of things that come out from the cards. So, I like, I mean, you can always read for yourself. It can be a little tricky, and it took me a long time to kind of learn how to read for myself, but everybody can. And a one card spread is the easiest way to do that.
Yeah, just direct.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
get the message and there's no trying to figure out how they
yeah,
intermingle and
yeah.
I
Don't
love it.
complicate it. Yeah, don't complicate it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. I really appreciated talking to you. Thank you so much for teaching me so
Yeah,
much and
thank
for
you.
reading my spread. And everyone go take advantage of that 20% off offer and, like, share, subscribe. If there's someone you think would really love this episode, send it to them, help us spread the good word, and have a beautiful rest of your day. I will see you all on the next show.